Arylic Audio is a well-known company making wireless multi-room full digital audio equipment. Amplifiers, preamplifiers, boards that you can attach into speakers, build your own wireless speaker, basically attach your own speakers to a high-quality source. And they're capable of streaming from all the popular sources such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Amazon Music, etc. I got another one to look at today. This one's pretty cool. Let's check it out. Today we're going to look at the new H50 multi-room digital hi-fi amplifier from Arylic. Specifications are as follows. IEEE 802.11.BGN for both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Has a Bluetooth standard 5.2 with the following codecs. It has built-in amplifier running at 24 volts. It's 50 watts times 2 into 4 ohms into 8 ohms. It's 30 watts times 2. Speaker impedance 4 to 8 ohms. Frequency response 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Supports Spotify, Tidal, AirPlay, DLNA, UPnP, QPlay, online music, Spotify, Tidal, Napster, Amazon Music, Internet Radio, iHeartRadio, VTuner, Sound Machine, Radio Paradise, Com Radio, QQ Music, QQFM. It says local music, mobile device, NAS, network storage, USB, disk drive music files, and it works by AirPlay or Alexa. Also has 2 times Bluetooth receive, so it's able to connect to 2 Bluetooth transmitter devices. Has line in, RCA inputs, phono input, moving magnet, moving coil, optical input, maximum 192 kilohertz, 24 bits PCM. Has a TV ARC, PCM only. Supports USB disk drive playback. Has 2 times Bluetooth transmitter, so you can connect this to Bluetooth speakers or earbuds. Has a subwoofer output. Let's get this open and see what's in the box. It's actually quite heavy. There must be a power brick in here of some type because this unit actually has a bit of weight to it. Now, I have been a user of the Arylic devices for years. I have one right behind me hooked up to some speakers that I listen to the radio all the time on. Here's the new amplifier and the accessories. Power brick. It's 24 volts, 4 amps. It's a basically 100 watt power supply. And there'll be some cables in this one. Power cable and remote control and so forth. And antennas. So it comes with the standard remote, antenna for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Put the antennas on. The antennas are probably the same. So here's the input and outputs on the back. Speaker outputs right here. For your left and right speakers, this is a switch to select 4 or 8 ohms. My speakers are 8, so I'll select 8 ohms. Has a phono input with ground. Line input. Subwoofer output. Optical input. Has an HDMI ARC, which is your audio return channel. So you can connect it to your television from the HDMI that has ARC, and then the sound from your TV can be played back through the amplifier. LAN input, so that you can connect it directly to your wired network instead of using Wi-Fi. And of course it has 2.4 and 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi, as well as Bluetooth. It has a DAC input, so you can connect to your computer and use this as the DAC. It would come up as a sound card on your computer. So you can use this as an amplifier for your computer itself and as your sound card. USB input to plug in a USB stick to play music off of. I'm going to hook it up to some speakers. We'll connect it to internet radio, and I've already got the app because I use their other speakers, so I'm sure that even without looking at the manual, I can figure this out. It's going to use the same app. I'm pretty much 100% sure. I haven't even looked at the owner's manual yet, but I'm going to assume that it uses the 4Stream app, just like the other Arylic devices. So I'm going to connect it with the 4Stream app and add it as an additional device. And then I can play, well, I can stream the radio station that's playing in the background right now. I usually just listen to one station pretty much all the time. Although I could listen to anything, I just normally leave it on the one that's playing in the background, which is a local station that broadcasts on FM, but their signal is a little bit weak to my location, so I picked them up on the internet. I've got my power plugged in, turn it on, and it will boot up. Arylic shows on here, network. So I'm just going to go through the initial setup. I've got the 4Stream app loaded, and I've selected add a device. And we see we found a new device, which is Sound System 5FA6, which is going to be this one here. Set up this device. Now it's going to ask me to connect this to my network. It's already determined it's found my network, so I'm going to click next, and that should connect it to my network. It says please wait while the setup is complete. The little antenna that's flashing here should light up solid once it's activated. These are pretty simple. You just use the 4Stream app to do it. And now it's stopped blinking. So the connection is now established. It says my Wi-Fi signal is weak. Well, I guess it is. This particular one, it's on the other side of the house. the Wi-Fi access point. There's actually a couple of them, but they are not near where I am. That's why it's showing weak. We'll give this one here, we can give it a name or whatever we want, and don't know what to call it. I'll just leave it at the default. And now the system is on. And this is where it gets fun, because I can play anything on here. I don't have an Alexa, so I'm not going to sign on to that. And I see my existing setup here. The existing speakers. This is the new one here. It says no music selected. I can either link this in with the other ones and have it playing the same music as the other 4 devices that are connected currently, or I can play something completely different. So if I pick something different, just click on here and pick browse, I can now pick either music that's in my phone. So for example, if I click on my music, now back from the app itself, I can control the volume. I can start and stop it. If we go back down to browse, I can select Wi-Fi. I can select Bluetooth, and this will then switch to Bluetooth. Now it would connect directly to my phone as opposed to through the network. I can select line in, as it shows on the display. I can select USB DAC, optical input, audio return channel, or phono. Go to device, go to setup. Here we go. I can select, I'm on 5 gigahertz only, or I can select 2.4. It says, yeah, please make sure your device, yes it does. It says 5 gigahertz only disables the 2.4 band on your device and connects to your router on the 5 gigahertz band. It says it helps device discovery and more smooth audio playback, because 5 gigahertz of course has more bandwidth available than 2.4, but it has a shorter range, so you typically would have to be closer to the router. I did not see any option to switch moving coil to moving magnet, although it does say on the box it supports both The instruction manual also does not indicate any way to change moving coil to moving magnet, so whether it automatically senses whether it's a moving magnet or moving coil from the impedance, that's a possibility, I guess. I'm going to go back to browse here. I'm on Wi-Fi. We'll go back to browse on the sound system here, and again, this is where I can pick services such as TuneIn or internet radio. If I pick TuneIn, for example, it'll let me pick some of the programming that's already preset. Like, for example, if I want to listen to CKNW.
I'm going to try to do that tomorrow or even later tonight if I can. But yeah, no, get it out of the way if you can, because it's still about 16% of people vote on voting day.
Yeah.
So it's still a lot, and there's folks right to the end.
And, of course, it's all talk about the election coming up next week here.
Will count. All right, folks, you're listening to the Jazz Joe Hall Show. Coming up next, we're going to talk a little bit about the new mortgage rules and what impact they could have on you if you're buying a home. That's next.
2. Help prevent system failures. 3. Improve energy efficiency to bring down utility costs. 4.
It should be on the same station I've got going up. There we go.
Put us on at work and see what we mean. Wave 98.3, Vancouver's coolest vibe.
That's basically what I usually start listening to radio. Guys that can listen to radio stations basically from anywhere in the world. Use the 4Stream app. You can also use other third-party apps to control it. I use their app just because it's easy to work with. It supports all these different streaming services. I'm using TuneIn on here now, but it also will pull in straight internet radio. It has a V-tuner built in, so any of the stations that are on Virtual Tuner, I can now pick any station from anywhere in the world. I can pick popular stations, and it'll give me all these different stations. Of course, I tune into the channel and I get an ad for them. I do have it hooked up with Amazon Prime. I do have an Amazon Prime account, so I can log into my Amazon Prime account and see if I can play that. Okay, I got it logged in finally. Play through the playlists on Amazon. I never use it, but it can do it. There it is. You get the idea. What I can do on here, if I go to devices, is this one's called Sound System 5 FA6. If I go down here and I click on Add, I can add this one in and hit Done. And now this one is now synchronized with the other systems. The one you hear in the background, this one's synced with it. Which is a neat thing. That's one of the things I really like about the Arylic devices, is that you can link up, I think it's 11 or 12 of them can be synced together. And you can manage them, and each one, you see I can control the volume of each one. For example, the Playback speakers, which are the ones behind me. That's them. And this one is Sound System 5 FA6. You can also control what you want it to play. So if you've got multiple units, you can select left channel. So it only plays the left channel out of both speakers. Right channel, so it only plays the right channel out of both speakers, or left and right for stereo. So you can select either. Now where that comes in handy is if you are dealing with speakers that are separated and you don't want to run wires from one speaker to the other. You can have two of these units, have one connected to one speaker, have the other connected to the other speaker, and you can link both of them together and then select one for the left channel and the other for the right channel. And when you turn up and down the volume, they'll both go up and down together. And I can do that here with the group volume. I've got all these different devices that are set up. I got one in the living room which is hooked up to my stereo. I've got this one that says media closet. That one's actually hooked up to a little low power FM transmitter so that I can broadcast it around the house and pick it up on any radio. The one marked Woody is one that I built as a separate board that I built into that little wooden radio, or the little wooden speaker, the little Minimus 0.5 Radio Shack speaker. Playback speakers are the ones that are in the workshop here behind me, and this one here is sound system. But there are other ones, I just don't have them plugged in right now. But it's a great system. I really like these Arylic devices, and they basically operate almost identical to how a Sonos system operates. If I plug in a USB stick loaded with media files, MP3 files or FLAC files or whatever, it should automatically play it. I've unlinked the H50 from the rest of my network. Now I can use the remote control to select inputs. For example, I've got a USB stick plugged in. If I select USB, it will say USB on here. It'll also tell me what it's going to play on here. This is actually now playing from the USB stick that's in the back of the unit itself. Not only can I control the volume and change the track from the remote control, but I can also do it on my phone. So I can select the next track on my phone. This is playing off of the USB stick. As you can see, the light is blinking. I've got probably 1,000 tracks on this USB stick, and I can select them all from here. I can also select the track directly from the USB stick. They'll all show up on my phone. I can put it in random playback as well. And now if I select from either the remote control or from the phone, it will pick a track randomly, but it is playing now directly from the USB stick, as you can see. If I unplug the USB stick, it'll stop playing. So it's playing from here, not from my phone, although I could select it to play from my phone as well. One of the features I do like about the Arylic is if you load up a bunch of tracks off of a USB stick, some brands of equipment only allow you to play the tracks in the order that they were recorded, which I find quite annoying. There's a number of media players, such as DVD players, for example, that will play MP3 tracks that are on a disc, but it won't play them in random order. It'll just play them in the order that they were recorded. If you've got a lot of tracks, you don't want to hear the same thing, especially if you've got albums recorded. You don't want to necessarily hear every track on that album before it moves to the next. Having them being able to play in random is nice. From the app, you can select random playback off of the USB stick, and then even with the remote control, I don't have to keep the app running. I can shut the app down once I've selected that. When I select the next track, it will play a track at random. Of course, the tracks show up on the phone, so I can have display what is being played. The display on here doesn't tell you the track that's playing. It just tells you it's in USB mode. Also built in is a transmitter for Bluetooth, so if I push the TX pair button, I will put the unit into TX pairing mode, and then I can pair to a set of Bluetooth headphones. Once paired to your Bluetooth headphones, as long as your Bluetooth headphones are turned on, They will automatically connect, or your Bluetooth speaker will automatically connect. If I turn the headphones off, it will transfer the music back to the speakers. Just like that. If I turn the Bluetooth headphones back on, as soon as they pair, the sound will be transferred over to the headphones, and it shuts off the speakers. When I turn off the headphones, the sound will now go back to the speakers automatically. You can pair 2 sets of headphones. To pair a second set, all you do is you hit the TX pair button again, and it will pair a second set, or another speaker, or whatever you're going to stream it to. Before I close off, we're going to just pop the unit apart so you guys can see the build quality, because I find the quality of these units to be first rate. I'll pop this apart with my Secure cordless little screwdriver. These are not standard screws. It's a hex type key. Okay, that should lift the top cover off so you guys can see what's inside here. It's actually quite busy. So here's our power amplifier with a nice size heatsink on, even though Class D amplifiers are fairly efficient. This one's a relatively high power unit. Nice beefy speaker cables that are going to the speaker terminals. Check those out. Of course, the unit is capable of 100 watts, 50 watts per channel, because of the voltage it operates 24 volts. So you got a good size conductor for the speakers, which would be expected. Here's our amplifier circuit. They've glued down some of the larger components so that they don't get damaged in transport and from being bumped around. So they've got glue around the inductors and the capacitors. .470 microfarads, 63 and 50 volts respectively. On this side are the digital and analog inputs. Analog on the back here. The Bluetooth and Wi-Fi unit. I think this is, this is the Bluetooth antenna over here. And the Bluetooth goes, that antenna goes under the circuit board. It looks like it comes up over here. So yeah, here's the Bluetooth circuit. You can see that small little board there. That's your Bluetooth. Again, connectors are glued down so they're not going to fall apart. As is the Wi-Fi board. It's glued down. This is the Wi-Fi little mini coaxial cable, getting the Wi-Fi signals into the Wi-Fi board. Again, they've done a really good job. They've glued all these connectors down so that there's no chance of them coming loose just from transport. This is the display board. There's the amplifier. Just top quality all the way around. Yes, they are a little more expensive than some of the stuff that you're going to find, but I've found that the build quality of these is first rate. I've never had any trouble. And when you look at the price and you compare it to, say, Sonos, these are a fraction of the cost of Sonos, and they are very competitive as to the features that they have and the sound quality that they produce. I hope you guys enjoyed the look at the H50 amplifier by Arylic. Great little unit. I'm going to throw a link in the description and you guys can go there and get more information. But I find these units here are excellent. I've got several of them in operation. Several of them operate 24 hours a day. I've never had any trouble with any of them. Highly recommended. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one. Bye.